And with that, I'm honored and blessed to introduce Christine Day.
How wonderful it is to be here. As usual, so much love coming through brings a lot of emotion. And I just want to, I was in Australia when I heard of Justine's death. And I needed to speak and honour her before I start today. It was interesting because my daughter, she lived around the corner from my daughter when she was living in Australia, so she knew her and I knew her, and it was so interesting how the tragedy and the connection that we had, it was like, oh my gosh, we both knew her well from different areas of the world. And yet I didn't know my daughter knew her, and she didn't know that I knew her. So there was something in that, and it felt very synchronistic on some level, coming to that, and we brought us together. And so I just want to hold the light for Justine. She has much light around her, but I just want to honour her journey here. Yes, mourn her loss, but honour her path that she took here and everything that she brought to humanity, and the greatness of her heart. And it feels to me like her essence is still here with this community, and that she will continue to impact this community in a positive way, as she did when she was living here. So I just wanted to honour that and speak of her. And we never know where our next, where we're going in this world. We're here now, but, we don't know for how long we're on this planet. We don't know what's coming into our lives. And it really brings to me the importance of really being in the moment and living your life to its fullest, to really embrace life and embrace yourself in that life. And the way we do that is to really work towards aligning to that inner guidance. And I know that's the topic of this month, and it's a very important topic, because the Pleiadians spoke to me just 2 days ago, giving me a lot of information, and they said the heart is the only true reference point in your life. It's the only true reference point that holds that truth and authenticity for you. And it moves you away from the ego mind, that third dimensional illusion of the drama, and allows you to align through the heart into that higher self aspect where you receive your inner guidance. And so I see that as a very important moment right now, an important time for us, for you, to move into this authentic reference point in your own lives. And this takes you, through conscious choice, saying, yes, I choose to shift my positioning within myself, that I start referring through the heart and align to that inner guidance. And the heart is the doorway for that. The heart is the doorway to the higher self, your sacred nature. I use that word higher self. It's not a word I typically use, but some people really can relate to that higher self. For me, it's the sacred energy of the one that we are. And so you have to simply ask yourself, when am I going to leave behind the ego-mind connection and choose to align to the heart? And people are saying, well, what is inner guidance and how do I get there? I don't even know. When I hear something, I don't know what's truth and what's not truth. And that's a big dilemma because the ego mind kicks in. Understand, the ego mind cannot relate to anything from your intuitive guidance. That intuition, that inner guidance. It doesn't relate. And it will immediately dismiss and put in your mind this doubt. This doesn't make sense, and it won't make sense to the ego mind. Nothing that you receive from your inner guidance will make sense to the ego mind. So you need to kind of pull things apart and understand there's the ego mind, the human aspect, that only knows that third dimensional limitation. And then there's the heart and that inner guidance. And the heart brings you the access to your intuitive. Now, I have lots of students worldwide with this question, well, how do I know it's true? How do I know I'm not just making it up? That's what the ego mind will tell you. Oh yeah, you're just imagining that. No, that's not possible. The fact is, it's a very simple process to really, when you get something through from that inner guidance, when you first receive it, it's like, oh my gosh, okay. And you start to digest it. And then the ego mind comes in and slashes it. And then it puts you in doubt, well, is it right or not? I mean, and if it's scary, if it's kind of stepping outside the box, it slowly brings it down to, you don't really have to do that. No, that's not really that important. That's the process. But there's a very simple process to really feel whether this is authentic or not. When you come into your heart, and the heart space is the full chest area physically in the body, and then it goes beyond the physical body. I mean, it's huge. You have an amazing multidimensional heart. It's your tool. Your heart is your tool, your main tool right now for your awakening. There is no other tool than the heart. Okay, it's authenticity, it's truth, it's reality beyond the third dimensional limitation and illusion. So, to connect to your heart, you need to build this connection, consciously choosing, this is my heart, this is my tool, this is where my truth exists. This is where all my inner guidance exists. And you simply do that just by bringing your hands to your chest and bringing your awareness into that physical connection to your heart. This is yours. Now, when you choose to meet your heart like that, and then you bring your awareness there and you take what the Pleiadians call the conscious breath. Now, this is key. It's no good just breathing normally and being in your heart. No, the conscious breath is in and out the mouth, like a deep sigh. And as you bring your awareness there, you take one conscious breath. You don't need a lot of them. It's powerful. It's potent. And that conscious breath says, yes, I'm willing to let go. And yes, I'm willing to align to my light. I let go of the illusion and I enter the vastness and the beauty of my own heart. Now, if you do that 5 minutes every morning before you even step out of bed, you're way ahead on your day. You start to evolve and birth. The heart actually has nourishment that feeds you. It feeds the cells of your physical body. It feeds your spirit, and it opens a doorway up for you to have a day that is different from every other day locked in the third dimensional illusion. Now, when you get some guidance through, say you get something, okay, I know I have to do this. You know how that's that strong? And you go, I know this is right. I have to do this. And then slowly it gets less and less compelling. as the ego mind breaks it down. So, you get into your heart to just check, you bring your awareness and that thought of what you have to do into the energy of your own heart. Now, if it's authentic, it will grow. It will expand. There'll be peace, light. It'll kind of get larger. And if it's from the ego mind, it will just disappear. It won't be able to sustain in the truth of the frequency of your own heart setting. For me, my turning point was when I was dying of advanced lupus, and I had that awakening, and I knew I had to move from death to life, to being alive, to being in the love of who I am. It's the same decision. You don't have to be dying to come to this, believe me. I just had, that journey because I needed it. But you don't need this. But understand, when you choose the way of your heart, you choose to move from death to living. Because the ego and the third dimensional elements take you into a limited, small place of fear, of struggle, of lack, of limitation. And you live in that. That's death. That's not being alive. But when you come into the expanse of your heart, and your heart is waiting for you, it's waiting for you to come home. This is what the Pleiadians call the home space. Because it not only interconnects with your own inner guidance, it's your higher self you get that inner guidance from, but you start to unravel and flow into that God consciousness state where you interconnect with all life force of light, or that God consciousness of yourself. So that you bring your information, whatever you're given, into that, and if it flourishes, it instantly begins to get more and doesn't die away. You know this is a truth. Now that's one thing, knowing, okay, this is definitely inner guidance. Okay, I got it. Now what are you going to do with that? You see, part of the human dilemma, we know we're perfectly imperfect, that's an issue. It's an issue we need to be aware of, but it doesn't have to control our lives. But when you get the guidance, are you going to choose to follow it? Now, when I had my near-death with my lupus and I had my awakening, I made a commitment that I would always follow my guidance, always, no matter what. And I have never once, how many years? 1986. So do the math, I can't. But I have not once not followed my guidance. And there's been some really challenging things that have been put down for me to follow, like leaving my children in Australia and coming to America. Not a good one. I mean, seriously, that was probably the most difficult. But I knew that it was part of my destiny. However hard it was, I knew it and I trusted that. And I trusted that my children had chosen me to be their mother. And that they also had to move forward in that decision. They had to go and be with their father, who they didn't want to be with. He wasn't a bad person. And we had a great life. But it was right. It was right. So when you choose to follow your inner guidance through your heart, you can't follow some of it and not other pieces. When you don't like it so much, you go, oh, I don't think I want to do that, or that is really scary. There's a lot of fear that comes up around doing that. You're either in or you're not. You either choose to follow your heart or you don't. You either choose to honor the higher self, you who you are, with that divine intuition, with that guidance, step by step by step. And your ego mind, your heart's desire might mean to go over there. And the guidance seems to be taking you that way. Your ego mind will say, what are you doing? It's taking you away from your goals. Always remember the zigzag path. That is part of our journey. And you may be saying to yourself, I keep asking for this and I never get it. I keep asking, I'm praying, no one's hearing me. Are you hearing yourself? Because the person you need to hear is the higher sacred aspect of yourself that's taking you where you are destined to go. And your heart's desire is part of that. We have the right to be fulfilled in our own hearts in this life. Each one of us. And then you judge yourself and go, I know, I'm just not worth it. Yeah, I did some really terrible things a number of years ago, and, I'm never going to get what I want. Because we believe ourselves to have done something so terribly wrong. We've judged ourselves, but it's the ego that's judged us. The higher self does not know about judgment, only love. And it's an aspect of us, it's an extension of ourselves, a natural extension of ourselves that we reconnect to through the heart space. This is all about you coming home to you, nothing else. And we have been stuck in certain ways with these little glitches. So you have your heart's desire and it's not being met. So where are you not listening and not ready to take the step outside the box to bring yourself the joy, the abundance and the love? That's the question, not why have I been forsaken? You're not a victim. But it's time for me to follow me in my heart. How simple is that? Everything comes down to a very simple truth when we let go. And it's about, will I let go? Can I let go and come into my heart? And yes, feel the fear, but do it differently. Because the fear's the illusion anyway. I've worked that out a long time ago, that the fear is just, it is a total illusion. And the more fear that comes up from my ego mind, the greater the gift that's waiting for me at the other end. So a lot of fear now tells me, step forward, this is exciting. I've reprogrammed myself to that truth because it is a truth. The fear won't leave. The ego is not going to shut down and leave you alone. But it's up to you to choose how you're going to respond to that ego mind when you start getting that inner guidance. When you start letting everything go and come into your heart and reconnect, you actually reposition yourself energetically when you start aligning to the heart and trusting the heart and trusting each step of that inner guidance, no matter what. No matter what. You can trust the authenticity and integrity of your own heart and the sacredness of yourself. Understanding that higher self that is giving you that inner guidance is taking you home. Taking you step by step back to yourself. And it's the time. It's the time for us to move back to that authentic place, because we've suffered enough, and the separation from the heart creates a lot of suffering because it's in limitation. But you need to make up your mind and understand that when you receive that inner guidance, you commit. And you know what you're committing to? To yourself. No one else. It doesn't, involve one other person in this universe, not one other life force in this universe. You're coming back to yourself and you're committing to you through your own heart. That's it. And if you choose to anchor that and allow that inner guidance to move you where you're supposed to be, and just let go and breathe that conscious breath and trust that, and you witness the unfolding of yourself, the reconnection to the sacred that you are, and you become more aligned to that sacred, and then that human part receives the love and compassion and patience from the sacred part. It actually gets fortified, that human element. It gets held and it's understood and loved, and it is allowed that imperfection, but it doesn't run your life and create that chaos or that drama. And it's not only your well-being on an emotional level, but it's your well-being on a physical level. Every time you enter the heart space and recommit to that deep connection and listen to that inner guidance, and sometimes it's just filling you with peace and love, and you can breathe and let go and know everything is in hand. You can actually watch the drama and breathe and let go and be fully engaged in the moment in your life, not in that fear and worry that totally separates you out. See, this is the time for us to emerge as awakened communities through our hearts, through the sacred heart. This is our time, and this community can come and gather together and meet and witness each other in that. And you can honor the guidance. It's great to get a group together and work through your hearts, and then at the end of the evening, when you sit in your hearts, you share the inner guidance that you got for yourself. It's not about guiding anybody else. The ego mind will go, yeah, let's just make guidance for everybody, That's what the ego mind wants to do. This is about you. You and what you need for your own unfoldment in your life now. Right now, today. The next hour. When you get connected to the heart and into that inner guidance, you can sit and go, okay, what do I need to do in this moment? What's next for me in my day? And you can breathe and let go, that conscious breath, and you'll feel, okay, all right, that's what I need to do right now. And you just go and do it. And you're living in the moment in a alignment with that sacred inner guidance. And this is the time, this holy divine energy that's come onto the planet is allowing a whole new dimensional setting where we can come into our hearts and align to that inner guidance like never before. We are being liberated energetically on the planet, and now we need to step forward and utilize that. But this is about your conscious choice. No one else can choose it. No one else can do it for you. And the Pleiadians are saying to me that we as a human race, as humanity, we are destined to set ourselves free, liberate ourselves. Yes, the spiritual realms, the galactic community, the energies of the universe can support the openings, but we must show up for ourselves. And for so long we've been waiting for someone else to do it for us. But we hold our own God connection, our God consciousness. We are co-creators of our world, and we have to own that. And you own it only through the heart space. There is no other place. No other place that authentically is relevant to bringing you to that point of yourself. It's the doorway home for that inner guidance. And this is, if you're just starting, that's fine. You can move really fast because it's not hard. It's just you choosing this moment. This is the time. I choose now that I will not look back. I might have moments where I'm aware of my ego mind going on. That's okay. I witness it. I breathe. I let go. And I come into my heart. And I'm fed and nourished through that. The cells of your body need the nourishment of the love right now from that higher self energy, from the home space in your heart. You need the feeding of that nutritional love for the evolution right now. And it's an energy that supports the system and builds the system. It recalibrates your system, it rejuvenates your system, and allows you to move into a very different place in your life on a physical level. As you align to the heart, the cells, every cell in your body begins to thrive with the frequency of that love that you are sourcing for yourself. And as you take your inner guidance and you start to make it manifest in your life by following it step by step, your life path opens for you. Because it can't open when you go sometimes here and sometimes here. It just breaks it all down. It's like you have a heart's desire to go over here, and you listen to the first step of the recipe to get there, but not the second and the third, because it doesn't really feel that good. Oh, that's kind of a bit scary. It means I have to step in another way. I have to do something differently. But yes, you do, but you come from your heart, you breathe, you let go, you take that step, not alone. You take that step with your sacredness of your higher self. And the universe meets you because you're in the flow of your own divine flow of light, of that higher self. You take a breath, you let go, and you have everything to lose, everything to gain and nothing to lose in this. Because isn't this enough? What you've been in and we've been in for lifetimes, just going with the ego mind in that circle, that sabotaging circle. It takes us outside the box of third dimension and moves us into a multidimensional slipstream of energy where you exist on a higher level. Every time you go to your heart, that's what happens. A door opens and you move into that space. And pretty soon it's an automatic thing. It's not something you even have to think about. But at first you do, because you've got to break the old patterning of responding in a knee-jerk way to your ego mind and the comments of the ego. Understand you do not have to answer your ego mind. It will always have a question, always have a comment, always breaking something down because it doesn't understand. It's not trying to harm you, but it doesn't understand anything but that limited third dimensional perception. So you take a breath, you go into your heart, you feel the essence of that inner guidance waiting for you. It's like you're going to meet something that's yours, that's wholesome, that's truth, that's pure. And you let your awareness flow into that. And you simply breathe and let go again. You use that conscious breath because the conscious breath aligns you. It's an aligner. It aligns you to the frequency of that truth, of that inner guidance. Now, when you go towards inner guidance that you've been given in that way, and just bring your awareness to your heart, take a breath, let go, you align deeper and deeper into the frequency, into the light content of the inner guidance itself. And it's almost like you get more details, more pieces of that guidance. And you breathe it again. You use the conscious breath. Okay, I'm letting go. I can feel that. And you start to almost take it in and align to it on many levels within the heart. And the heart opens further. That's how you align and activate that inner guidance. And then you have to come and take steps. It's one thing to be in the energy, and then guess what? You've got to go out into the world. Okay, it is a multi-dimensional world, but it has a lot of density to it as far as the illusion. And you have to take another step and do something differently in your life. And it comes down to trust. But when you come back to the heart, it fortifies you for that trust. You're not left dead cold on an empty road. You're actually picked up and almost carried down that road. I remember when I was coming to America, and I'd been here a while, and I'd been told, to meditate for 2 months, right? Just sit there. And meanwhile, my money's just dwindling down to almost nothing, right? And my children were coming from Australia to spend time with me. And we'd been together, I had 2 months doing nothing. So when they arrived, I was kind of like really on the edge of broke. And I had them for 6 weeks. And then I took them and by the time I took them to the airport, honestly, I had about $10 and a couple of quarters. And I thought, okay, so I dropped them at the airport and gave them the $10, okay, so they could have something at the airport. And I was going from there to drive to a place where I was working for 2 weeks. So I knew I was going to make some money. But I had to drive to a place and call someone on a telephone, and they were going to come and get me because it was a difficult place to find. So it was raining. I'm driving over the San Francisco Bridge, not knowing my way that well, with directions. Get to the place where I'm going to make the phone call, and I put the quarter in, and it doesn't work. And I have no money. I have nothing. It's dark, raining. And, it's like, and my guidance was, go back to the car. And I'm going, okay. And at this point, I'm kind of, thinking, what am I doing? What have I done with my life? Look at where I am. It's like there was this like massive, almost a breakdown, watching myself spinning, And I go back to the car and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And I look down on the floor and there is the quarter of the car. So I go back and I make the call, and they come and get me. And of course I hadn't eaten that day because I gave the kids my money. And I'm kind of like, okay. And I was working that night with these people, and they all gave me checks. Still didn't have any money. It's like a trusting of something, of knowing this is right, but sometimes it looks really hard and wrong. But, I was fed and nourished energetically as I worked with the people, kind of filled up like I was eating a large meal. And, everything was there. They had somewhere for me to stay. It was just, but it was a moment of letting go. I still went with my guidance, but it's letting go. Sometimes it can look really intense on a third dimensional level, but when you follow that inner guidance and you just keep breathing and coming back to the heart and letting yourself go to the next step, that's how it unfolds. You're not going to be given a road with your guidance that this will happen, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. There's not a road map, but it's being in the moment in your heart and following that inner guidance to take you where you need to go. Now, that was my journey. It doesn't have to be yours, believe me. Again, I had a lot of kind of necessary roads to walk to, I think, to kind of break down my ego. And it was very effective. But, you know, it's easy. It's been made easy these days for us to be able to really align through the heart and to let go and allow the journey to unfold as it needs to, authentically for you. That's what this is about. It's about authentically being nourished by yourself, you birthing you, you nourishing you. We have everything within us that we need right now. And that's something to understand. We are not dependent on anyone outside ourselves for nourishment, for answers. It's about coming into that authentic place within the heart and opening to that inner guidance that is waiting for you to come so that you can be given what it is you need for your next steps. And it takes you to stand up and say, yes, I choose to let go of what I think I know here. And I choose now to live here, to claim my heart and allow the vastness of my own inner guidance to show me the way. That's those words, I am. When you touch your heart and bring in those words of I am, there's a fortification and an acceleration that happens through the heart because you're claiming your truth, your alignment to who you are in the fullness and greatness of everything, and you are a part of that. You return back to claim your place within our universe. And you start to open and utilize and tap into the greatness of that God consciousness state that exists within each one of us. And we all have our own unique aspect of that. That inner guidance is something that you can absolutely depend on, even though it will rarely make sense in a third dimensional world. But we're moving from that. You're moving from that. And it's part of our destiny as a community to start moving much more consciously towards that inner guidance and aligning into the heart, to utilizing the tool of your heart fully right now. And that you have the incredible energetic support on this planet. And we have these huge energy waves that are coming onto the planet starting September 1st that are going to accelerate and open and expose a whole new level of dimensional energy of our heart space. And I got to glimpse that energy while I was channeling with the Pleiadians a couple of days ago. And I've never seen or understood how important and how vast our hearts are, where they're interconnected to all life force in the universe. I've always talked about the heart and the importance of the heart, but this took me to another place where I understand what this tool of our heart is and how all-encompassing and its potential is. And we start only through one moment saying, yes, I commit to my heart and I commit to moving outside that realm of that box of third dimension and reclaim who I am within my own heart space. It's about seeking your place, the vastness of that impeccable light that you are. And this inner guidance is there waiting for you to tap into. So let's take one more conscious breath. That's it. Just allowing yourself. Remember, it's in and out the mouth. And the breath is about breathing in, and then you let go, and you're letting go of the old. It's like you're letting the old leave, the old dependency, the old belief systems, the old struggles, the fear that we've held close to us as a reality, and we let go of it as a reality. We'll witness our ego minds for sure. They're still in that imperfect state, and they will always be that way. We're meant to have the human experience here, but we're not meant to live by that limited experience any longer. So let's take one more conscious breath. But as you breathe in, just let that breath drop away. And that dropping away of the breath is saying, I'm letting go, not editing what I let go of. I'm just letting go of all that no longer serves me, all that is no longer, that needs to be part of my reality base. I turn back to the heart, to that inner guidance, and allow the unfolding of the sacredness of myself. Let's take one more breath, one more conscious breath, and let go. Ashata Inea. That's it. I have the energy of Mother Mary here, who is in this new frequency state with the Christ energy. They come to each one of us through the Sacred Heart to support us on a very individual basis. This is part of their promise to us during this time of this second phase of transition on the earth plane. As you align into your inner guidance through the heart, you are being held and supported, yes, by your higher self, and you are being given the frequency of the light from Mother Mary, of that energy of the heart, of your sacred heart as a tool. She holds the energy around planet Earth for us to unfold into that unlimited space of ourselves. And the Christ energy allows us to move into that self-resurrection, which is really just witnessing the ego mind of the human state, but not getting stuck there, coming straight into the heart and feeling the vastness of your inner guidance from your higher self. Now just take one more breath and let go. I'm just going to open up an energy of the sound just to allow a blessing to be bestowed upon you, to support you in your next steps. Shatai Shehom, Shatai Sheom Dainea, Hea, Sheom Sheo, Sheo. So be it. Thank you, everyone.
barrier. You are the one to lift up the veil, to reveal your own beauty, to reveal your own radiance, and bathe in the fountain of truth. You are the one to sail in the river, letting go the shore, trusting the current, a gentle wind behind you, and the sunrise before you as you flow into the glory. A wave meets you there, carrying you like air into the great creation, your sacred revelation. You are the one to open the doorway. You are the one to open it wide to the light that's been waiting, ever patiently stating, I love you. And I'm here. I am you, the one you've been waiting for.
We're being asked to gather together within our sacred hearts as community here in Lake Harriet. And allowing, as we align to our hearts right now in this circle, we create a circle of light that can extend outwards to community, to all humanity across this country and across the world, and out into the universe. Let's take one breath, conscious breath, and let go into this circle of light. Standing in our authenticity within our hearts. Ashatai ashe om dainea, ashe om ashe o, ashe o. Take one more breath and let go. And one more breath and let go into this circle. Ashatai. Ashe om, ashe o. So be it. Thank you, everybody.